In this video, I will show you 3 different banks that will give you over $20,000 in funding with no proof of income. These 3 banks I have personally used to get funding for my businesses, and I have over $100,000 in personal limits and over $100,000 in business limits. My name is Paulo Azevedo. I'm a high school dropout who has failed many times until I found success in running my own business. I own multiple businesses like a 7-figure Amazon business, credit repair, and a business funding business. I found myself needing credit to scale my businesses, and I struggled to get funding at first. But once I cracked that code, I'm getting more cash for my business. I have helped other people and recently secured over $500,000 in funding. I help people just like you get high personal and business limits on credit cards, loans, or lines of credit. In this video, I'll show you which 3 banks that I went to, how much I received at each bank, and how I applied. So before we even apply, we need to think about your personal credit report, right? Because you can use collateral to get cash. You can use a 401k. You can use cash itself. You can also use collateral like a car or your home, right? But all this stuff takes money. You need to have something. You need to have bought it already. So it's better to have your credit report, right? That's kind of the only thing they go off of. And what do I mean by that, right? You want to have a stellar personal credit report. You want to have one that's ideally at least above 700. Above 760 credit score is ideal. You don't want to have any negatives. You don't want any late payments, at least in the last 2 years. You don't want to have more than 3 late payments in the 7 years. You don't want to have charge-offs, collections, none of that stuff, right? So that's kind of like the minimum. Remove all of that stuff. If you also need to have age in your credit report, you need to have primary limits, you need to have experience. So having a credit report that you build over time is important. Now, let's say you are brand new. Let's say you do have negatives. You can go to our website and schedule a time with one of our advisors or credit repair or business funding. We can help you qualify to get higher limits, right? But the first step is you need to build the credit. You need to get experience using it. And because once you get a good with $1,000 in limits, then you can go to 5,000, then you get to 10,000, then go to 50. But if you're not good at $1,000 in limits and your late payments, etc., what makes you think you're going to be good at 50,000? So you kind of need to progress over time, right? I've progressed over time. People that I help progress over time. But if you haven't done it, then you start today. That's the best time to start. So let's get to it, right? The 3 different banks that I got funding for. I'll give them to you from the beginning. It's Chase, American Express, and Citizens Bank. So Chase, I have a business relationship with Chase and a personal relationship as well. My personal relationship started 8 years ago when I got the Chase Sapphire Preferred. And that card, I have over $50,000 in limits. I use that card pretty much primarily for my personal for the past 7, 8 years. And I got that card for points. I got that card because my wife and I do a lot of traveling, and we were transferring to our partner airlines, etc., so we can get better rates for flying and better rates for like staying at a hotel. So I points hacking. So because I had that card and I had a relationship with them, it's not always required, but you always want to have something, right? And I also had low utilization, the 10% on all my cards when I applied, and less than 2 inquiries and no negatives. So my average age is about 8 years. So when I applied, it was for a new business at the time. I got the Chase Premier card. It's not a 0% card. I got that card for the 2% and then 2.5% cash back. That's the only reason. So to apply is like anything else. The utilization. I had an over 800 credit score. My income was like 120 at the time, and then my revenue from my business was I put over $1 million. They don't ask proof of income, right? They approved me off the bat for $25,000. Chase. That's it. I don't need to show any W-2 statements. I didn't need to show anything on my revenue side for the business, no profit and loss. They straight up give me $25,000 to start. Here you go. Great. The second bank that I went to was American Express. So American Express is a great bank. You need to build a relationship with Amex. There's one of the banks that they're not going to give you a ton of stuff if you're just brand new. They just don't. That's just how they operate. A couple of years back, they operated a little differently. Today, they want a relationship. That's fine. Bank of America is another bank like that. So with American Express, I had on my Amazon business at the time, I opened a Amex Business Plum card, And that card doesn't have hard limits, it has soft limits, but you can build it really fast. So I built that card up to soft limits of like $80,000 per month, which is great. So I had that to start on a personal side. And my first business, Amazon. So when I started doing credit repair and business funding, I need money for that business too, for ads and things like that to scale faster. So I applied for the American Express Business Cash and Business Plus cards. I put in my expected revenue for the year, used my credit report, put in my income. They didn't even do a hard pull. They do soft pulls once you have a relationship with Amex, which is great. This was a brand new LLC. It was only like 3 months old at the time. They gave me $22,000 on the cash and they gave me $13,000 on the plus. So combined $35,000. This is a 0% cards, both of them, and I needed them both. So I applied for both, I was expecting about 40 for that for American Express, but I got 35, which is great. Money to use right away. I have a full year that I can use these cards at 12%, sorry, at 0%, but 12 months of no interest, which is great, as long as you pay the minimum. And then the third bank that I went to was the Citizens Bank. Now, I also have a personal relationship with Citizens Bank. I've had a personal relationship for over 20 years. They're the bank that I've had for no business accounts before this, but before it was just personal, it was just direct deposit, things like that. So I've had a relationship with Citizens Bank. And the other thing that you see with the other two banks, Chase and American Express, is that I have a relationship in general with all of them, at least a year old. It just helps you, right? Because some banks rather extend more money to people that are in their network versus starting with somebody that's brand new. So before you apply first to the banks that you're banking with already or have some kind of relationship in the past. Those should be your number one on your list. With Citizens Bank, like for no negatives, low utilization, this business at the time was 6 months of age. Citizens requires that. And basically, I reached out to a business representative at Chase, sorry, at Citizens, and they sent me a link to apply. So I put in my revenue, I put in the amount of employees, I put in my personal income, and then they ran a soft pull on my Equifax report, and they came back with $50,000 on their 0% card for 12 months, 0%. I have $50,000 to play with. No proof of income, no proof of business revenue, nothing. I did open a business checking account for Citizens. I put in $2,000 in there, let it stay there for about 2 weeks, and then I applied, right? So I did have a business relationship with them as well. So the idea is you always want to be able to hit the banks that you have a relationship with first before you start hitting like other random banks and you don't have any history with them, right? That's just like your number one thing to do. If you don't have that, then whatever national bank that you want to work with first, go there first. Tier one banks, ideally. So these three banks, I did not ask for proof of revenue, no docs. I did everything online. I didn't even need to go to a branch and talk with anybody. And they just relied on my personal credit report. And that's the beauty of the personal credit report. That's why it's so powerful. That's why you want to make sure that it's always 100%, right? That's why you want to make sure that you have low usage when you apply, low inquiries, no negatives at all. And if you do have any negatives or you have issues you want to resolve, then you need to talk to somebody, right? Either you do the credit repair yourself or you talk to a professional that does it every day, right? So if you're struggling to get your credit repaired or to get funding for a business, click on the link in the description, BizSpark Solutions, and you can get a time to talk to one of our credit advisors for free.